Previously on The Outdoor Couple.
Whoa! Good. We each got a couple of pheasants, 3 hens and 3 roosters. They were a little tough this morning. There was absolutely no wind, so the dog was really, had to work to pick up that scent. And then the birds were running a lot, so it was a classic pheasant hunt today. Thanks for coming with us today, and we appreciate you watching The Outdoor Couple. Tight lines, good shooting, be well. Okay, everybody, hey, what a hunt we had this morning. We're back in my home up here in Lake County, and I'm bringing you into my favorite place, next to being in my kayak, boat, or in a field. Stella is here with me, and say hello, Stella. She's right here. Hi, baby. Anyway, Stella and I are going to prepare these pheasants for tonight's dinner. I'm going to do all 6. The first thing we're going to do is start boning out these pheasants and browning that meat and getting everything else prepped. So I'm going to walk you through some of the preparation. Is boning out a pheasant. This is happened to be a little one here, a little hen. And the first thing I do is I use a knife. I go ahead and take off the thighs. Break the thighs out like so. And basically what we're eating off of this bird is the breast meat and the thighs. So the legs are good too. There are a lot of tendons, since these birds do a lot of running. And then I'm going to breast out these breasts a little bit tight. Stella's here hoping that she gets a little treat, but it's not going to happen. We don't let our dog eat the game that we hunt. Sometimes they'll sneak her a little piece at dinner time, when we're done eating. But it's cooked. I don't think she knows what it is. Okay, so you can see how we breast this out. Okay, and that's it. That bird is completely breast out now. We've taken the breast meat off, we've taken the thighs and legs, and that's really all we're going to consume. So I'm going to go ahead and get these all done, and then I'll walk you through the rest of the prep. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash all these birds. Make sure you're using cold water, okay? And you just kind of do an examination, like if you got a piece of bone in there, get it out. Okay, wash it up good. We will blot dry this a little later. All right, so now that I got everything all washed off, I go through and I'm going to let this dry out here on the paper towels. And I mean dry out, just blot up some of that water. I don't like to put a soaking wet bird into hot oil. There. And again, garlic, granulated garlic. Not too much, you don't have to do it too heavy. Black pepper. Again, not too much. Sea salt. And again, not too much. All right? All right. Turn it over. Same process. Bing, bing, bang, 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 bang. Okay. And I'm gonna move this over here. Put that down there. And make this process, right? Down to the last breast. I'm gonna move this one over here now. And we'll get that going. All right. And the only thing we're gonna need from here is the salt, so we can put everything else back. You see I got a few spices up here. We're gonna need the bay leaf. Definitely want the bay leaf back. All right, so I'm letting that oil in that pan get hot now. I want to get that to where I can just put that pheasant parts in there and brown that right away. This oil here should start getting hot too. And of course, they only been on for a couple of minutes, so I don't expect much here, but it's warming up. I can put my onions in there now. Okay. Put my garlic in there. Let me use a spoon. Okay. And then I'm going to put about 2/3 of my parsley in there. Okay. I might even cut this a little finer. All right, now I'm going to get that spread through the oil. Okay. Now this is what makes your house smell like a home, right here. The ingredients in this pot right here are really nothing but goodness. You can see there, everything's mixed right away. Everything's got a nice coat of oil on it. And that'll start cooking down. We're gonna get those onions pearled. That's really the secret thing. These can go in here. Need the cutting board for my mushrooms. Now I can take a second, wash these mushrooms. What's going on? What's going on? Okay. All right, we're gonna get those cleaned off. These are like the biggest mushrooms I have used in a long time. They didn't have anything else, so this is what I'm left with. And I'll end up cutting these in half, and then they get reduced in the sauce. They don't stay this big, obviously, but they're just huge. All right, now I'll dice those up in a little bit. I hear things going on in this pot, which is good, and I'm gonna fill that pan full of pheasant parts now. There we go, that's what you want. You want it to sizzle the second you put your pheasants in there. That way you know you're gonna get a nice brown out of this. All right, and then fill it up. Whatever you can fit in the pan, fill it up. Let's see here. I'll just press right here. We'll put right here. Okay. Pan's got a lot of miles on it, so I'm going to tilt it a little bit. Make sure I got an even spread of the oil. Okay. Now what I do is I cover it with this. I'm not splattering all over the place. I got to turn the fan on now. Okay, so there we go. We got our pheasant parts starting to brown. We got our onions and garlic and Italian parsley. That's curling out really nice. You know, this will be ready in about 5 minutes. Now the aroma's intoxicating. Love it. A lot of people don't like pheasant because they go, it's dry, it's too dry. This is one way of making sure that whoever comes to dinner, including yourself, will absolutely love eating pheasants. It's really something we all look forward to. Unfortunately, you know, a lot of people don't know how to cook this meat, it is purely a white meat. Even though it looks red, it's gallinaceous birds like a chicken, so it's mostly white. The legs are a little darker meat than the chest meat because they're short flight birds. Not so much in blood vessels through their chest, but in the legs, a lot of blood vessels. So the meat is like just like a chicken. It's, you know, chicken leg is brown and the chest is like white, and that's exactly what you can expect off of quail, chuckers, partridge, anything that's gallinaceous, short flight birds. What I mean by short flight is that they don't migrate. Like with ducks, doves, their chests are all red because those birds are putting on them, you know, they're flying thousands of miles to get somewhere. Oh, this looks good, man. This is going to get to a certain point, and then I'm going to shut it down. And I think I'll just move, when the meat gets browned, I'll just move it right to the pot. I'll let it go for a couple more minutes. Okay. So I have room for one more in there. Boom. Beautiful. I know you're watching this, but you can't smell it. I wish you could. It smells wonderful. There's nothing like this dish. Okay, so I've turned the heat off on the pot. We'll let these onions and parsley and stuff sit while my bird is browning. I'm going to do the mushrooms. Okay, I have a favorite knife for this. A very thin blade chopping knife. Get rid of the stem. Doing this at home, watch fingertips. Nobody likes to eat fingertips. Oh, look at that. Yes. Now we're starting to brown there. Yes. Beautiful. Put that leg back in there. Put that one back in there. I can get through those 4 mushrooms and that pan will be ready to put in the pot. Start moving some of this to a pan. Okay. Nice and brown for the next one. Let's get some pheasants in there. What, 2 bros? No, that's 1. Okay. That's 1. Another little nugget.
another little nugget. Okay, cover that up. What I like to do with this over here is definitely stir it up. Get that meat covered up with all that goodness. Look at that. Huh? Look at that. What are you talking about here? Look at that. Okay. My cousin came down from Idaho, fished with me for a week I think it was August, early September, and I made him this dish, and I thought he was gonna eat the whole thing. So, and that's great for me. I love that. He enjoyed that dish. You know, it's one thing good cooks like to eat. And it makes me happy when somebody enjoys a meal that I've, prepared. I know what goes into it. And for me, it's a good thing. Okay, I'm a couple of minutes away from having all the pheasant parts browned. My thighs and my breasts. I'm gonna put it in the pot. And then I'm going to cover it with a sauce. I'm going to add some stewed tomatoes and some other ingredients. Stay with me. Okay. Normally when I make this dish, I start in the morning. I'll get up, have a cup of coffee, and start browning my pheasants. Because normally I part them the night before, refrigerate them. That's okay. We do what we have to do. It's about 2:30 now. I think it's 2:30. What time is it? Okay, it's 3 o'clock. So this is all going to be cooking, and I should have it to boil about 3:30. So we're about 30 minutes away. You see all the meat there is ready to go. I'm going to remove that pan. I'm going to slide this pot over there. Set that here. You can see everything's looking fine here. I'm going to slide it over here. I'm going to turn the heat back to high. Is it firing? Yep, it's firing. Okay. And then I'm going to add my stuff. First thing I'm going to add is 2 cans of stewed tomatoes. Pop them in there. Yes. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, I'm going to pour my sauce in. I'm using 2 of these and 1 full of water. Okay. And for today, we're using Rouse homemade, all natural premium marinara. You can see right there, that's what it says. Okay, it's like 28 ounces, so I'm using 2 of these. This is filtered hot water. I don't like to use tap water because God knows what the government's been putting into it. So I fill this up halfway because this water here is coming out just about 275 degrees. All right, that's 1. And this is gonna be 2. Okay. It's a hot water dispenser. We've installed a filtration system on it so that we can do our coffee and tea and whatever. Okay, now give the whole thing a nice stir, right? Stir it up. Get all that onion and stuff off the bottom. All right. This should be exactly enough to cover all the meat. Got it? Look at that. Perfect, perfect. Like I've done this before. Okay, the shrooms. The shrooms got to go in. All right. Man, that's a mess of shrooms, but what the heck? I like shrooms. Anybody like shrooms? Okay. Did a lot of shrooms back in the 70s. It wasn't with pheasants though. Oh my God. Okay. I stir all this in. The shrooms are going to cook way down, so you don't have to worry about them looking like, oh, it's just a shroom sauce. It's not. These shrooms are going to cook down. There's a lot of water in mushrooms, and that's going to help thin that sauce. You notice this carrot over here? You see what that carrot? Okay, this is a very important part to any kind of sauce. You're using tomatoes, there's a lot of acidity in tomatoes, but when you take a carrot like that and you stick it in there, right? What that carrot does through the whole cooking process is absorb the acidity that you will have in your tomato sauce. And it makes your tomato sauce very pleasant, no aftertaste, no burping later. It's really the way it goes. So if you didn't know that little trick, now you do. Make sure you do that. I don't care if you're making just spaghetti. Make sure you put a carrot in there when you're cooking your sauce. All right, that's going to take a minute or two to come to boil. In the meantime, I'm going to get things cleaned up here. Okay, we're going to take a look. This thing's been simmering now for about 45 minutes. And as you can see, the sauce is starting to thin out. Those mushrooms now are starting to shrink up. We're going to simmer this for about 3 hours till that meat is almost fallen off the bone. And I wish you could smell the aroma. What I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning to this. I'm not going to add a lot of salt, but I'm going to just do a pinch. Okay. A pinch of sea salt. Stir that in. I mean, look at that. Oh my God, is this going to be good? Okay, and then definitely bay leaf. A pot, you know, this is a pretty good sized pot of stuff, so I'm going to put 3 or 4 in there. That has a great flavor. Push those down into the sauce, let those just float around and spread their goodness. And then a little bit of Italian seasoning, not a lot, just a little. If I can figure out how to open this, here we go. Okay, when I say a little, that's about, I don't know, half a teaspoon, maybe a quarter teaspoon. There we go. And the Italian seasoning's got rosemary, it's got oregano, and as soon as it hits that sauce, you could just smell the aroma coming off of that. That carrot's in there, that carrot is in there doing its thing. Anyway, this is just gonna let it simmer. There's nothing else to do with this. I'll make my polenta about 5 o'clock and have it in the oven, and everything will be served tonight at 6:30. So, that's it from the kitchen. I'll cover the cooking of the polenta as well. All right, see you later. Okay, so our pheasant's still simmering. It looks perfect. I can't wait to try that tonight. Also, as I promised, we're gonna do the polenta. So I've got, looks like a couple of cups of water. They're heating up to boil. I put a little olive oil. I always put butter. And it makes it nice and creamy. Let me just close that up. Anyway, that's gonna come to a boil. Then I'll start adding the polenta slowly. All right, so what we're gonna be using, I got a little bit of Bob's Red Mill polenta, very nice stuff. And we got golden pheasant. It's literally the same thing. I'm gonna use Bob's until I run out. This water is just starting to boil. Butter's melted, olive oil spinning around, so here we go. The trick is not to have it get clumpy. So you stir it in as you're pouring it in, and you don't stop stirring until it's done. So I'll be standing here for about 5 or 10 minutes. You don't want to watch me stir this, believe me. Okay, so once I got some in there, I'm gonna grab my parsley. I'll throw my parsley in there. That's gonna add a little color.
No, it's okay.
And then, we'll almost drop the whole thing. You see that? Almost dropped the whole thing. I'm gonna put some Parmesan in there too. Okay? And then you gotta stir everything, otherwise it'll just It'll just clump out. You'll hate your polenta. To the pan. It's getting close. Okay, it's starting there. All right, it's starting to get there. You see how it's bubbling up there? I'm gonna turn this heat down just a little. Oh, I gotta turn this down a little bit more. There we go. Okay. All right, you can see it thickening up now. Okay, so you keep going. Keep going. Let some of that water steam off. I better turn the fan on. I'm sorry. Gotta have to listen to the fan now. I'll talk loud so you can hear me. Alright, it's getting there. Stir it up, no clumps. See that? Nice and smooth, nice and smooth. You want this buttery. Okay, you want that smooth. Keep stirring, don't stop. This is something you can't walk away from. You've got to stay on it. Okay. All right, I think we're there. Okay, nice consistency. Now sometimes I serve it right on the plate like this. All right, but in this case, we're going to pour it into a pan. All right, the oven's already preheated. Now what we're going to do is we're going to give it a nice little layer of Parmesan, because I like Parmesan, but I don't want to do a whole lot, just enough. And then what's happening right now with the Parmesan, it's starting to melt right into that polenta. Okay, that's a nice coating right there. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to pop it in the oven at 375 and 350, and we're going to let that go for about 40 minutes. Okay,
No, it's just the
buon appetito.